We all know that the Trump administration runs on corruption, and that attitude is rapidly spreading across our government. Just watch how Fox host Will Cain and Tyrus try to convince the audience that they should not care about it.
Apparently, one of the Special Forces soldiers involved in the Nicolás Maduro raid has now been arrested because he placed a bet on Polymarket ahead of time about whether or not Nicolás Maduro would go down. Obviously, he knew the prospect of that was very high. Not guaranteed, but very high. And apparently, he made $410,000 on this bet. Why are you going after one of our heroes?
Honestly, again, I don't care.
Oh, no,
let him have it. Let him have it.
No.
With betting and everything else going on, because you said a great thing. He didn't have a guarantee. So you have a tip. The guys do it all the time.
Here's the reason we should care.
Or at least pardon him, because everyone else is getting pardoned.
But here's the reason that we actually should care is because that compromises potential OPSEC. And I can guarantee you people inside the Pentagon are going, you did what? Ahead of time? That could have tipped off anybody who had serious intel on spying on the United States. Could have been like, what is this bet? Look at this. Is there something coming for us in Venezuela? I don't care about the money. I don't care as much about the insider. I care about the operational security.
Yeah, but he definitely should never be in a position like that again.
Well, they literally said it. They don't care about the money, one, the morality, the ethics of placing a bet on a military operation in the first place, or even insider trading with privileged information in principle. Their takes on this case, even more disgusting when put into context.
According to the indictment, the officer participated in the planning and execution of the operation and used that classified information to allegedly profit.
Gannon Ken Van Dyke is a member of the U.S. Special Forces, actually reports to the JSOC, the Joint Special Operations Command, and was actively involved in planning the whole Maduro incident, had made a number of bets over a series of time. Remember, the time period for this operation had shifted, so his bets were actually shifting as the operation shifted. It was an outsized bet. It caught the attention of everybody right away. It was a profit of over $400,000.
The indictment alleges he wagered about $33,000 and ultimately won almost $410,000. The Justice Department is charging the 38-year-old with unlawful use of confidential government information and commodities fraud, among a number of other charges. He faces a long prison sentence if convicted.
An outrageous level of corruption. People should be unbelievably pissed if there are people in this government or near this government that are betting on war, betting on activity based on inside information. It's no different than the crap that's happening on Capitol Hill, where members of Congress are allowed to buy and sell stocks based on information that they're getting from a paycheck that you gave them to put them on Capitol Hill to do your work, and instead they're padding their pockets. That's where people should be losing their marbles. It's all nuts.
I guess this is just a natural outcome of a country that has just been swallowed up by gambling.
Let me make sure you understand the full scope of what just happened here. A United States Special Forces Master Sergeant, a man entrusted with some of the most sensitive, classified information our military possesses, allegedly used that information to gamble on a prediction market. Master Sergeant Gannon Van Dyke was part of the planning and execution of the operation to capture Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. He signed non-disclosure agreements. He knew the mission was classified. And according to the indictment, in late December, weeks before the raid, he opened an account on Polymarket. He put down over $32,000 on what looked like a long shot bet that Maduro would be removed from power by the end of January. And then he walked away with over $400,000 in profit. Then, allegedly, he moved the money through cryptocurrency to try to cover his tracks. This man was photographed on the deck of a ship in military fatigues carrying a rifle right after the operation. He was simultaneously cashing in on it. Now let's talk about how we got here, because this did not happen in a vacuum. The Trump administration greenlit prediction markets for American consumers. Donald Trump Jr. sits on the advisory board of both Polymarket and Kalshi, the two biggest prediction market platforms in the country. Trump family has a direct financial stake in the explosion of this industry, and the regulatory framework barely exists. Federal law technically prohibits prediction markets from offering bets on war, assassinations, or terrorist attacks. But Polymarket's offshore site, the one Van Dyke used, operates outside U.S. regulations entirely. And Americans can access it with a basic VPN. So you have a president whose family profits from these platforms, an administration that, well, has championed deregulation at every turn, and a military apparatus where the people doing the fighting can literally bet on the outcome of their own missions. This is what a total absence of guardrails looks like. This is what happens when you tell people the rules don't apply, when you staff the government with loyalists instead of public servants, when you treat every institution like a personal ATM. The corruption doesn't just live at the top, it seeps down, it infects the culture, it teaches everyone watching that the system exists to be exploited, not served.
The Trump family, though, does have connections to these prediction markets. The president's son, Don Jr., is an advisor to both Kalshi and Polymarket. Some critics of the president have accused him of using his power as the president to manipulate the markets when he talks to reporters on the phone or issues statements on Truth Social. The Trump administration, though, is coming down hard in this indictment that came out yesterday. The acting attorney general, Todd Blanche, said, quote, widespread access to prediction markets is a relatively new phenomenon, but federal laws protecting national security information fully apply. The U.S. attorney that brought these charges against Van Dyke yesterday said that he engaged in, quote, clear insider trading, Amna.
Are you concerned that federal employees are betting on these prediction markets and potentially getting rich?
Well, I don't know about it, but was he betting that they would get him or they wouldn't get him?
It sounds like he was betting on his removal from office, that Maduro would be removed. It sounds like he was involved in the operation.
That's like Pete Rose betting on his own team. It's a little like Pete Rose. Pete Rose, they kept him out of the Hall of Fame because he bet on his own team. Now, if he bet against his team, that would be no good, but he bet on his own team. I'll look into it, yeah.
There are also bets that are being placed as well on the Iran conflict, too, and there have been some trackings where people suspect that there's insider trading happening on these prediction markets around the war. Are you concerned about that?
The whole world, unfortunately, has become somewhat of a casino. And you look at what's going on all over the world, in Europe and every place they're doing these betting things. I was never much in favor of it. I don't like it conceptually, but it is what it is. No, I think that I'm not happy with any of that stuff, but they have all these different sites. They have predictive markets. It's a crazy world. It's a much different world than it was.
So Trump, here's the details of this case. A soldier used classified military intelligence to win $400,000 betting on a prediction market. And what does Donald Trump say? He asks, did the soldier bet for or against the operation? When he's told Van Dyke bet that it would succeed, Trump compares it to Pete Rose betting on his own team. Pete Rose, the man who was permanently banned from baseball. That's the comparison the commander-in-chief chose. Not this is a violation of national security, not this soldier betrayed his oath. His instinct was, well, at least he bet we'd win. Tells you everything you need to know about how this administration views right and wrong. In Trump's world, there is no such thing as an ethical violation if the outcome was favorable to him. There's no principle that can't be bent if the person breaking it was on his side. It's not about the law. It's not about the oath. It's about the team. And as long as you're on Trump's team, the rules are just suggestions. But then the reporter pushed further. She asked about the even bigger pattern. Suspicious bets being placed on the Iran war. And what did Trump say? He said the whole world has become a casino. That's a quote. The president of the United States, the man who started the war, called the world a casino, not with alarm, not with concern, with a shrug, because casinos are Trump's native language. He ran them, he bankrupted them, he profited from the people who lost in them, and now the entire American military apparatus has become another floor in Donald Trump's casino, where the House always wins and the little people get played.
For a small group of traders, the war with Iran has been a windfall. On the night of February 27th, 16 bets on the trading platform known as Polymarket made $100,000 each for accurately predicting when the U.S. would strike Iran. Soon after, one trader made over $500,000 betting that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei would be toppled, moments before he was assassinated by Israeli forces. The same surge was seen in oil futures trading as well. Right before President Trump announced a temporary ceasefire with Iran on March 7th, traders bet $950 million that oil prices would drop. which they did. On the same day, 50 Polymarket accounts placed bets that the U.S. and Iran would reach a ceasefire before Trump announced it on social media. Overall, traders have placed over $1 billion in perfectly timed wagers relating to the Iran war. A recent analysis by the BBC of online bets placed throughout President Trump's second term found a consistent pattern of spikes just hours or sometimes minutes before a social media post or media statement from President Trump was made public.
Because this is not just about one soldier and one bet. This is about the moral rot at the center of turning human life into a financial instrument. Prediction markets were sold to the public as innovation, as a new way to harness the wisdom of crowds. But what they actually are, at their core, is a mechanism for turning war, suffering, and political chaos into a profit opportunity for people with the right information. One Polymarket trader made nearly $1 million placing bets on when the U.S. and Israel would strike Iran, bets that were eerily well-timed. Israeli authorities arrested a military reservist for doing the same thing. New accounts appeared out of nowhere and bet big on the Iran ceasefire right before Trump announced it. Congressional candidates were caught betting on their own elections. This is not the wisdom of crowds. This is the corruption of everything. And it fits perfectly into the Trump family's long-term vision, because the Trumps don't just want to run the government. They want to financialize it. They want every executive order, every military strike, every diplomatic move to generate a transaction where someone connected to them makes money. Crypto, prediction markets, meme coins, NFTs, they have turned the presidency into a portfolio. And prediction markets are the latest audition. When you can bet on whether a war starts, whether a ceasefire holds, whether a president gets impeached, you haven't just deregulated markets, you've deregulated morality. You've told the world nothing is sacred, not democracy, not military service, not the lives of soldiers or civilians. It's all just odds on a screen. And the people who set the odds are the same people who start the wars. That's not a prediction market, that's a rigged game. And right now we're all playing in it, whether we want to or not.